This next session is called How to Build Friendship Effectively.
这个环节呢，就是我们要如何的有效率的来建立友谊。
And to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous
很老实的跟你说，我有点的紧张，
because after lunch is always a very difficult session.
因为呢，每一次午餐以后呢，是一个非常艰难的这个时刻，
I might need to resurrect some dead people back to life.
很像呢，就是要重新的在这个主日崇拜复
Are
活
we all
这样子。
alive this morning?
我们已经复活了吗？今早。
Okay, before we begin, because this is a session on how to build friendship, I want you to practice immediately.
那这个呢环节呢，就是我们要来如何有效的建立友谊，所以呢，我们要这样很快的来实际。
Yeah, so if you think you can attend this workshop and just sit down there for the rest of the day, you are mistaken.
如果呢，你以为你可以坐在那边呢，就什么都不做呢，那你就有这个错误的想法了。
Okay, we're going to be doing some activities today, fun activities, don't worry.
我们有很有趣的这些的活动哦。
I promise you, you're going to learn something from this session.
可是呢，我也答应你呢，你一定会学习到东西。
Okay, everybody up from your seat.
好，每个人呢，你都要站
Up
立
on
起
your
来
feet.。I want you to look for somebody that you do not know so well.
我要你找一个你不太认识的这个人，
Yeah, go around, walk around
到
in
处的
pairs,
走
okay?
动。
Okay, you need some space, so you can walk to the corridor at the back of the room. We're going to do an activity, okay?
然后你需要一点的空间，所以呢，你可以就是到处流动。
And make sure that that person is somebody that you do not know so well of.
你要确定呢，这个的人呢是你不太认识的。
Okay, everybody, have you found a partner?
你呢
Okay,
已经
man
找
with
了
man, woman with woman, yeah?
弟兄与弟兄，姐妹与姐妹哦。好，你们预备好了吗？
Are you ready for the activity?
你们为这个活动预备好了吗？
Okay, in a little while, I'm going to give you 15 seconds, only 15 seconds. Please observe your partner, okay, from the top of the head to the tip of the toe, okay? Observe, look from head to the toe, okay? Up, down, up, down.
好，我给你
Observe.
15秒，你要这样来观察你的
Ready？
就是伙伴。
Ready? I'll tell you the activity later. The time starts now.
好，现在计时开始。
Okay, observe.
你来观察。
10 seconds are up. Now I want you to turn away from your partner.
好，
Now
时
don't look at them. Turn away. Make sure you cannot see each other.
时候到了，你们要转就是不要面对你的伙伴。
Okay, make sure you cannot see each other. Okay, now I want you to change 5 things about you. Get it? 5 things about you. For example, you can change the color of your neck, okay, or whatever it is, okay? Make it very subtle.
好，那现在我要你做出5个改变，就可能很像你的这个的领子啦，
Or your marks, or your glasses, or whatever it is, something about you. Change 5 things. Make sure your partner doesn't see it, didn't see you.
或者是你的头发、你的这个的口罩等等，但是你的伙伴是不可以看到你的这个改变哦。
Ready? I'm going to give you another 15 seconds. Quickly think, okay, what you're going to change about you. And we're going to see whether your partner can catch all the 5 things. Make it difficult for them, okay?
好，你要就要换这个5样的东西，然后就是不要让你的伙伴看到，等一下他就要来看。
But you yourself must remember what are the 5 things, okay?
但你自己一定要记得你所换的这5样东西是什么呀？
Ready? The time starts now.
好，
Go.
现在开始。
5 things. Okay, the change must be observable, okay? It cannot be so subtle that nobody would be able to see it, yeah?
这个改变一定要是能够让到你的伙伴看得到的，不可以一个人家看不到的东西。
Ready? Hey, not yet, not yet. Don't turn to your
不
partner
要不
yet.
要面对你的
We're
伙
going to do
伴
it
先
together,
哦。
okay? If you are done, just wait. I'll wait for my instruction.
如果你好了，你等一等。
Okay, who still needs a little bit more time?
谁还需要时间来改变的？
Already?
都已经改变好了吗。
Okay, now turn to your partner
好，转向你的伙伴，
and see if you can observe the 5 changes that your partner has made. Take
Yeah.
turn, okay?
然后观察那5样东西，你伙伴已改的。
Icebreaker. So they are not so sleepy. Okay, these two ladies are done. How many changes do you observe? You found 3 things. How about you? 0. Why? Very good. The sister is very good. She didn't catch anything at all. Done? All right. Who were able to observe more than at least one change?
好，有谁一个找到这一
Raise your
个
hand.
一个多过一个的这一个的改变的，举手。
Okay, how about 2?
2个的呢？
Okay, keep your hands raised. If
举手哦。
it's 3.
3个呢？超过3个
Wow,
的。
you observed 3 changes. How about 4?
超过4个的呢？
5?
超过5个的呢？
Wow, give yourself a round of applause.
太
Now
棒
we
了，
have quite a
给自己
number of
掌
you.
声。
Okay, have a seat, please.
好，请坐。
Now I want to ask you, okay, what have you learned from this exercise?
现在呢，我就要来问你，你透过这个的活动，你学到了什么？
Observe,
观察。
okay, observation. Okay, what else? You become closer to the other person.
你
Okay,
和另外一
good.
个人更亲密
Good.
了。
All right. Anyone else? Anything else that you learned from this exercise?
还有什么你们学习到的吗
Okay, in regards to building friendship, what do you learn?
？OK，透过这个建立友谊，你们所懂的是什么？
We must be observant, don't we?
你需要有这个观察的这个能力。
Because they say, you know, when you communicate with somebody, words only account for 7% of the communication.
因为他们说呢，当你这样子和一个人沟通的时候呢，透过的话语只有7%，
But the person's body language is 55%.
但是呢，透过一个人的这个肢体呢是55%，
And intonation, okay, which means the vocal variety, is 37%.
就是这种不同的这个声量呢是
37.
就是38%、
37.
37%，
Yeah, so only 7% is the words.
所以呢只有7%是这个的话语，
Okay, 93% are non-verbal communication.
而且93%呢是不是这一个的话语的？
Yeah, so remember when you are communicating with somebody, pay attention, be observant. Okay, their body language, their tone.
所以你要记得，当你跟一个人沟通的时候，你要这样子来观察他的这一些的声量等等。
And that will make you a very effective communicator.
这个呢，就会让你能够成为一个很成功的这个沟通者。
Okay, so remember your partner because we are going to be doing a few exercises today.
你呢一定要记得你刚才的伙伴哦，因为等一下会有几个的活动。
And we're going to be sharing stories with one another.
然后呢，我们也会来到和彼此来分享这些的故事。
Okay, this session is called How to Build Friendship Effectively.
这个的环节就是如何有效的建立友谊。
Now, by the raise of hand, who thinks that building friendship with a total stranger is difficult?
好，你们要举手哦。如果你们认为呢，要和一个陌生人建立友谊是非常艰难的，
Oh, nobody. Or 1 person, 2 person, okay, 3.
这么少人
Who
吗？
thinks it is easy?
谁认为和陌生人建立友谊是很容易的？
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Okay, so we have people who think it's easy. Some people think it's difficult. And most of you are in between. Or you are just too sleepy, too lazy to raise your hands.
我们知道有一些人他是认为是容易，有一些人认为是难，有一些呢甚至可能是懒惰举手。
But no matter where you are on this spectrum, there is something that you can learn from this session.
无论如何，你是在哪里呢？但是我可以确定的就是，你可以在这个环节学习到
We
东
can
西。
all learn to be more effective in building friendship.
我们呢都可以学到如何有效的这样子来建立友谊。
And this is the foundation to successful soul winning.
这个呢就是那个根基，要如何来赢得灵魂？
Why is building friendship so important in soul winning?
为什么在建立友谊是多么重要的？当我们要赢得人灵魂
Can
的时候，
somebody tell me, why do you think building friendship is so important?
有人可以这样来回应我吗？为什么建立友谊是这么重要的？
To gain trust?
我们要建立这个信心
Very good.
和信任。
Yes? Anything else?
还有吗？
Yeah? Relationship?
关
Yes?
系。
Now, have you ever come across a salesperson who is so eager to sell you their products? Okay?
你有没有来到就是遇到一个生意人，他很想要就是把他的这个产品卖给你，
The only thing in your mind is, how can I get rid of this person quickly? Have you ever been in such situation? Raise your hand.
但是你的头脑就是讲你要怎样的
Oh,
能够
look at that.
逃避这个人，有的话你举手哦，
Have you ever?
有吗？
Who has ever come across somebody who wants to push on you something that you do not want to buy?
他一直把你不想要买的东西推给你，你可以举手。
They say right, in Malaysia, if your long lost friends suddenly give you a call one day,
如果突然间有一个你的这个比较远的这个朋友呢，他打电话给你，
you know it's one of three things that they're going to say to you.
你也知道他有一些的东西要来跟你说，
This is not what I say. This is what somebody else told me.
这是别人告诉我的。
They say, number one, it must be MLM.
第一个呢，一定是跟这个 MLM 有关系；
Number two, must have something to do with insurance.
第二个呢，就是和保险有关系；
Number three, 讲耶稣, talk
第
about
三个呢，
Jesus.
就是说耶稣。
Yeah, that's why people are very skeptical nowadays.
所以呢，人都变得有一点这
Is
个
it true or true?
是真的吗？
True?
真的。
Right? If somebody comes up to you that you do not know of, once you immediately put up a wall, a barrier,
如果你一个你不认识的人突然间来到的话呢，你就把这个墙已经建立起来了。
what do you want from me?
你到底要什么？
Right? We are very skeptical in nature because we've come across a lot of people like that.
这是很自然的，我们都会有这样的一个反应，
They want to sell you something.
因为他们要卖你东西，
They're not interested in you,
他们对你没有兴趣，
they're interested in your pocket.
他们只是对你的
Right.
口袋有兴趣。
And I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, don't be a person like that.
我要你转向你隔壁的人说，不要成为这样的人哦。
When it comes to soul winning, you cannot be like a salesperson,
当你要赢得人的这个灵魂的时候，你不可以像这个生意人。
an overeager salesperson who only thinks about pushing the product and nothing else.
如果一个过度想要把产品卖出去的这个的生意人呢，就会有这样子的一个形象。
Because people can smell you from a distance away.
人家在远处呢，就已经可以闻到你这个人是怎
You
样。
have to genuinely care for that person.
你呢，需要来到就是很真诚的去对待一个人。
The best salespeople,
一个真正的生意人，
they don't talk about their products that much.
他们不太说太多他们的产品，
They are those who take the time to know their prospects,
他们会花时间
to know their prospects.
去了解他们的这一个的人，
They take the time to gain the trust of their prospects.
他们要花时间来建立这一个的对方的这个的信任。
And when the trust is established,
当这个信任已经有的时候，
everything else becomes easy.
所有的事情都变得容易。为什么？
Whatever it is that you have to offer.
因为这就是你所要有的，
That is human nature.
这就是人的这个自然反应。
We buy from people we trust.
我们会和我们所信任的人去购买这个的产
We
品。
listen to people we regard as friends.
我们呢，就是要去听那些我们把他当为朋友的人。
There is an old saying,
有一种的旧的说法，
people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
人呢不会在乎你懂得多少，一直到他懂你在乎他多少。
Yeah, I'll repeat that one more time because this is very important to building friendship. People don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
他们呢，就是不在乎你懂得多少，他们在乎的是你在乎多少。
So don't skip this step.
所以呢，你不要跳过这一个的阶段。
This is a very important step in soul winning.
这个在得人的这个灵魂当中是一个非常重要的关键。
When you talk about something as sensitive and as personal as faith,
当你要说一个非常敏感的，而且很亲密的一个的东西，关于这个信心的时候，
you need to earn the trust and the way into the person's heart.
你需要赢得对方的这个的信任。
Once you earn their trust and once you get to their heart, everything else becomes easy.
当你赢得他们的信任，更赢得他们的心的时候，其他的事情都会显得容易。
Because people can smell you away if you come to them with the objective to turn them into a Christian.
人家呢是可以知道的，如果你是想要把他们换为一个基督徒的时候，
That's why a lot of Christians get a bad rap.
所以为什么有很多的这个基督徒他们有一个的反效果？
Because people know that you want them to do something they do not want to do.
因为呢，人家会知道呢，你要他们做他们不想要做的事情。
How can good news be rejected if it's the greatest news, the greatest thing that can ever happen to them?
这个的好消息怎样可以被拒绝呢？
Well, oftentimes it has nothing to do with the message itself,
很多时候呢，跟这个的消息是没有关系的，
but it has a lot to do with the attitude of the messenger.
但是呢，它和这一个传达人的这个态度是有关系的。
Are you with me?
你明白吗？
You agree?
你认同吗？
Would you like to be a better friend in building friendship?
你想不想要成为一个更好的朋友，在建立友谊的时候？
Yes? All right. So that's what this session is all about.
这个呢，就是我们这个环节的这个所学的东西。
Okay, here's the first lesson when it comes to building friendship.
好，第一个的这个就是我们要如何的去交这个友谊。
And this is also how you can turn a casual conversation to a spiritual one.
如何将随意的谈话转变为属灵的谈话？
Because it's easy for you to talk about spiritual things in a setting like a church,
是很容易的。如果我们要谈属灵的东西，在这一个的教会的环境里面，
or when you are with your Christian friends.
或者呢，你和你的一些的基督徒朋友。
But what about when you are in a group of non-Christian friends?
但如果你和一般不是非基督徒的朋友的时候呢，
Or when you are in a setting that is outside of your church?
或是在一个超过这个教会的这个的环境的时候呢，
Oftentimes we do not know how to turn that casual conversation into a spiritual one, right?
很多时候我们都不知道如何将这个随意的谈话转变为属灵的谈
So
话。
this is what we're going to learn in this session.
在这个的环节，我们就是要学习到如何这样子做。
How can we skillfully turn this casual conversation to a meaningful one and then to a spiritual one?
我们怎样可以有这一个计划呢？就是把这种随意的谈话转为一个属灵的谈话。
Remember, this is what Jesus did with the Samaritan woman by the well.
你要记得哦，这就是耶稣和撒玛利亚这一个妇人所做的这一个的事情。
Jesus is the Messiah.
耶稣就是弥赛亚，
He knows this woman's need.
他知道这个女人的需要
He，knows everything about this woman.
他知道这个女人的所有，
He knows that this woman needs to hear the gospel and to accept him as Lord and Savior.
他知道这个女人需要听见这个的福音，然后接受他为救主。
But Jesus didn't immediately present the gospel to her.
但是耶稣没马上就把这个福音向她彰显。
Jesus started with casual conversation.
耶稣和她有一个普通的谈话。
You remember what was the first question that Jesus asked to this woman?
你记得吗？耶稣第一次问这个妇人的问题是什么吗？
It is a very simple question.
是一个很普通的问题。
Do you have water? I'm thirsty.
你有水吗？我很渴。
Now we can all be engaged in a conversation like that.
我们大家也可以这样子的，有一个这样子的对谈。
You can ask somebody for help.
你可以向人家求助，
And that is one of the fastest way for you to build relationship with others.
这个呢就是最快的方式，你能够和别人建立一个友谊。
Because in nature, people want to be helpful.
因为很自然的呢，人家要觉得人家会想要被需要。
So Jesus start with everyday conversation, something as common as water.
然后呢，耶稣也这样子的开始，就很普通的，如同这一个要求水的这一个问题。
And from that common topic, that became the hook,
然后呢，这个就成了这一个话题的整个的钩。
where Jesus shifted the conversation from a casual conversation to a spiritual conversation about the water of life.
然后呢，耶稣就将这一个的水液的谈话转为属灵化，就是普通的水能够成为这个永活的这个水。
And Jesus addressed this woman's need.
耶稣还说了这个女人的所需要的事情，
Jesus pinpointed the pain factor that this woman was experiencing at the time.
而且呢，耶稣已经戳痛了她的这一个的痛处。
And that was how, in such a short period of time, Jesus was able to transform this woman's life.
就是在这么短的时间呢，耶稣能够使到这个妇人的生命有一个转变。
So here's the lesson.
这个就是那一个的课程。
Always answer a need first.
我们要每一次的回答需求，
Okay, before you share the gospel, always answer a need first.
你在传一个福音之前，你要先回答对方的需求。
Now, when Jesus sent his disciples out 2 by 2 to share the gospel,
当耶稣差派他的门徒2对2要出去的时候，
remember what Jesus told his disciples to also do?
你记得耶稣对他门徒所说过的话吗？
What did Jesus commanded the disciples to do?
耶稣和这些门徒说过什么事？
As you go,
当你
heal the
去，
sick, cast out demons.
你要这样子的来，就是把这一些的魔鬼来奉赶出去。
Cleanse the lepers.
基本上这一个的
麻-
麻风病，
So Jesus asked the disciples to answer a need first before they were to proclaim the message of gospel of the kingdom.
耶稣也叫他们先回答他们的需求先。
Now, so remember this, there is always a need that you can meet before you share the gospel.
所以你要记得呢，每一次我们在分享福音之前，都有这个的需求要被回答。
That is the fastest way that you gain an entrance into a person's heart.
这是一个最快的方式，你能够进入到对方的心门里面。
And when you do that, you can expect to see the sign of God at work.
当你这样做的时候呢，你就能够期待在工作中看到上帝的迹象。
So good works and proclamation of a gospel are like the two wings of an airplane.
你要这样子的有这个行善跟这一个福音的作为呢，是两个一起要行动的。
Word and action, they should go hand in hand.
你有这个的工作，还有这个的行动呢，是一定要一起来进行的。
You don't just do good works but not share the gospel.
你不能够只是来做这个行善，然后你不传这个的福音。
If you do that, know that you are no different than all the religious organizations out there.
那你呢和这些其他的这一个的基督的这一些的这些宗派呢是没有差别的。
Some of them could do it even better than the Christians.
有一些的宗教呢做的还比基督徒更加好。
I know there's this Buddhist organization that's very huge. It's called Suji, yeah.
有这个佛教当中呢有一个很大的这个机构叫做慈济。
They are the fastest one. They are the earliest one to arrive at the scene of a natural disaster.
你知道吗？每一次有这些大灾难的时候，他们是最快的，就是会出现在那里。
Within a short amount of time, they can gather a large amount of money to help out with the relief fund.
在最短的时间，他们就已经能够筹备很多的钱来去拯救。
So if we only rely on good works, we cannot beat them. We are no better than them.
如果我们只是单单靠这些好的这些的事情工作是不够的，
You must also share the good news.
你也需要来分享这些好消息。
However, word alone, sharing the good news alone without good works is also not enough.
如果你只是单单这样来传这个好消息，但是你没有这个行动，也是不能的，
It's not balanced.
它是不平衡的。
Okay, that is why oftentimes the gospel sharing is not effective.
所以呢，为什么很常我们在传福音的时候没有这么的效力？这就是那问题。
Because Christians do not know the secret between the balance of these two.
因为呢，基督徒还不知道要怎样的在这两者之间有一个平衡。
They either only rely on sharing of the word or they only rely on good works.
他们就是太多的这个传福音，要不然就是太过多的做这个好的工作。
But when Jesus sent his disciples out,
但是当耶稣差派这些门徒出去的时候，
he taught them and he showed them, he modeled it for them to do both.
他教导他们，他和他们说，甚至是这样子的有一个例子，让他们知道两个都需要。
Everywhere Jesus went, he healed the sick, he cast out demons, and then he shared the gospel of the kingdom.
无论他去到哪里，他说你要奉耶稣的名赶出这一些的鬼出去，然后再来把这个福音分享出去。
And that is what you and I need to do as well to be an effective witness for the Lord.
这个呢，就是你和我都需要这样子做的一个事情。
Now, what are some of the ways how we can answer a need?
我们可以如何的回答人家的需求呢？
Okay, there are many ways,
有很多的这种的方式，
and here are some suggestions.
也有一些的建议。
I have already mentioned through healing and deliverance.
跟你说过的就是透过这个医治释放，
There are a lot of sick people around us.
有很多的这些病人在我们的身边里面。
Nowadays, especially after the pandemic, a lot of people are going through depression, oppression, and suppression.
特别是在这种的疫情的时候，很多人经历就是忧郁，甚至是被压制的感觉。
Well, remember what I shared in the previous session.
你记得刚才在刚刚的这一个第一个环节里面跟你们分享的是什么吗？
This is the time for you to be a friend to them.
这个的时候就是最好的时候，你可以跟他们建立友谊，
Genuinely care for them.
真诚的来关怀，
Love on them.
真诚的来爱他们，
Pray for them.
为他们来祷告。
That is going to be the fastest way how you gain an entry into their hearts.
这个呢，就是最有效率的这个的方式，能够进入到他们的这个内心里面。
When you build friendship,
当你建立友谊的时候，
do not do it with any ulterior motive that you want to get something out of that person.
不要有带着一个目的性的方式去和他们建立友谊，
Not even so that you can share the gospel with them.
也甚至不至于你要把这个福音跟他们分享的这个的目的。
You have to always sow the seeds and wait for the sign that God is at work in that person's life.
你需要先撒种，然后等待神的这一个的时间，让你知道这个就是那个时候，
And the Lord will show it to you.
神一定会向你显现。
Remember what I shared about the person of peace.
你记得刚刚我跟你分享过的这个事情吗？
Yeah, when you meet with a person of peace, you will know that person is a person of peace.
当你遇到这个和平的人的时候，你就会知道他是一个和平的人。
They'll be very open to your message. They will
Oh.
accept you.
他们对你的这个的信息呢，也是非常的敞开，他们也会接受你。
Yeah, and these people of peace, they can come from all the unlikely place.
这些的和平的人呢，他们都会这样子很自然的来到。
So do not disqualify somebody because you don't think that person could be a person of peace.
你不要这样子的来取消他们的这个资格，因为你认为他们不是。
Oftentimes, from my personal experience,
很多次呢，透过我自己的个人经历，
people that I thought would never become a disciple of Christ
那些我从来没有想过会成为门徒的人，
happen to be later on the best disciple of Christ.
他们到最后呢，就是那个最棒的这个门徒。
Yeah, look at the disciples that Jesus chose.
我们来看看，就是耶稣所拣选的这些的门徒
They didn't make the cut from the standard of the world.
就是要怎样
They didn't make the cut. I mean, they didn't measure up according to man's standard.
他们呢，就是在这个人的眼里嘛，没有这一个达到这一个的目标。
Because men look at the outward appearance.
因为呢，人呢，我们会看到在外在的这一个表现
We，prejudge a person very quickly, but the Lord looks at the heart.
我们人呢很快来这样子的批判一个人的外表，但是神看的是鉴察内心。
Okay, so very quickly, number one, offer to pray for that person's healing.
然后呢，我们可以很快的这样子来为那一个人祷告他的需求。
Okay, just pray a simple prayer, okay, authoritative prayer. And remember, Jesus has already promised us in Mark 16. When you do that, healing miracles will happen.
一种简单的这个祷告，然后也是有这一个权柄的这个祷告，就如同马可福音16章。
Okay, and healing, miracles, signs, and wonders shall follow you.
然后呢，透过你的这个医治呢，这些的神迹它也会跟随着你，
Because it is a sign that the message you are preaching is the truth.
因为呢，这个就是一个的迹象呢，就是你所传的是真实的。
Okay, next thing is praying according to people's needs.
另外一个呢，你要这样子为着他人的需求来祷
If
告。
somebody has a need, pray for them.
如果有人有这个需求呢，你就为他们祷告。
Okay, you can release words of prophecy,
就呢，你也可以来释放这个预言之语，
encourage somebody, edify that person.
造就他们，
Okay, with words of affirmation,
透过这种鼓励的话语，
edification,
造就的话语，
encouragement,
透过鼓励性的这种言语，
and that will open the person's heart as well.
使到对方的心呢是敞开的。
Okay, show love by helping out in practical ways.
通过你的爱心呢，你能够有实际的来帮助他们。
For example, if you can help financially, do that.
如果呢，你透过金钱可以帮助的话呢，你可以；
If you can do that through giving something, do that.
或者你可以这样子来给的话呢，你也可以这样子给。
If you can spend quality time with them, do that.
你可以和对方有更多的这个这个时间也可以。
Sometimes it's as simple as a touch, as a hug.
有时候它是很简单，就是需要一个拥抱而已。
Or sometimes it's just by lending them a listening ears.
或者呢，你只是要让他们有一个倾听的这个耳朵。
Yeah, and we are going to practice how to listen with our heart and our ears.
我们要这样子来学习，我们如何用我们的心跟耳朵来聆听。
I really like how the word "听" in Chinese language.
我很喜欢这个
Listen.
华语的词呢，就是听。
Okay, the word listen in Chinese is not just, if you look at the traditional character, you see that listening doesn't only involve your ears.
你看繁体字的话哦，那个听哦，它不只是有这个耳朵，
But you have to listen with your heart as well.
你需要用你的心来倾听。
Amen. This is how you can gain friendship with a person very quickly.
这个就是你能够如何和朋友来建立一个友谊。
Okay, how do you start with a casual conversation? Let's say you're talking to a stranger.
如果呢，你和一个的陌生人在聊天的时候，你要怎样开始一个话题？
Right, I would like to teach you something that is called form, F-O-R-M.
好，今天我要教你的这个东西就是 FORM，
Family, occupation, recreation, and message.
家庭、职业、娱乐、信息。
Okay, everybody has a family, and most people like to talk about their family.
很多人，我们每个人都有一个家庭，而且很多人都喜欢聊关于家庭，
Start from there.
也有这一个的
从那边开始。
就从那一边开始。
Yeah, ask them about their children, ask them about their parents,
你可以这样子来问关于他们的孩子，问关于他们的父母，
and ask them open-ended questions that get them to talk a lot.
可以问一个就是一个开的这种的话题，让他们能够继续的流动下去。
Then you can ask them about their occupation.
你也可以问他们关于他们的职业，
Because most people spend majority of their time at their workplace.
因为很多时候呢，人家都花了大部分的时间在他们的这个工作的岗位。
But pay attention to their body language.
你要这样子来注意到他们的这个的肢体。
If you see a person is close
你看到一个人，如果他是比较关的，
and they answer you short answers, single word answers,
或者他回答你的方式呢，就是很短的一两个字而已。
then don't be like a police who's interrogating a suspect.
你呢，不要成为这个的警察呢，不断的来审问他
You
们，
keep on asking questions and that person feel very annoyed, but you don't get the cue. You keep on asking questions.
不要一直问他们哦，因为他们会觉得就是已经很不耐烦了，然后你就继续问。
Yeah, so you must be skillful in asking questions.
你需要有策略性的这样子来问问题。
Ask questions that start with why, how, can you tell me more about?
你可以问就是很多这种为什么，或者是你可以跟我说多一点，
Yes, to get them open up about their situation.
让他们慢慢的向这整个的关键里面
After
敞开。
occupation, you can talk about recreation. What do they do in their leisure time?
问了职业以后呢，你就可以问他们娱乐，就是你在闲空的时候你所做的事情。
And then message finally is what is the hot current news?
然后这个的信息呢，就是到底你现在所收到的这些消息是什么？
What is trending at the moment?
在这个季节里面所流行的是什
For
么？
example, at the moment, everybody is talking about coronavirus, right?
很像现在呢，每个人都开的话题就是关于这个疫情。
So this could be a relevant message to to get the conversation going.
这个是一个很棒的这个的信息。
But this is only at the surface level. Yeah?
这个呢，只是一个很表面的一个表层
Don't，stop there. You want to go deeper.
不要停在那边，你还要继续的挖更深。
We want to go from casual conversation to a meaningful conversation.
我们要从一个随意的这种的谈话呢，进到一个有意义的这种的谈话。
Now, before you get there, your conversation with that person is very shallow, very surface level.
很多时候呢，这种的谈话呢是很随意的，一开始。
And before you get to the meaningful conversation about life, okay, it's very difficult for you to talk about spiritual matters.
当你还没有进到一个有意义的时候，讲到这些属灵事情的时候，
Because the person is not ready for it yet.
因为那个人是还没有预备好的。
Are you getting what I'm saying?
你明白我要讲的吗？
Yeah, so you need to warm them up.
你需要这样子的来预备他们，
Give the appetizer first before you give the main course.
先给他们一点的开始，然后再来在他们这个正餐以前。
Okay, so after you reach a spiritual conversation level, then you can share the gospel with that person.
当你已经遇到这个属灵的这一个的对话的那个层面的时候呢，你就可以跟他们分享这个福音。
Is that clear? Very simple. Yeah, casual conversation, meaningful conversation, then spiritual conversation leading to the gospel presentation.
清楚吗？很简单，就从一个随意的话题转为一个有意义的话题，再转化为一个就是能够谈属灵话题，在最后才传福音。
And an easy way that I found to get a person talking about themselves is by asking this question.
我呢觉得就是很容易跟人家有一个话题的呢，就是这一个，
It's called a scale of 1 to 10 question.
这个呢就是1到10的这个问题。
Okay, this is the way how you asked it.
这个呢，就是你如何去问他们的这个方式。
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not at all and 10 being very, how would you rate yourself in terms of how fulfilled you are with your life?
就是呢，要在这一个的1到10以内，1呢就是完全没有，然后10呢就是非常，你会怎样的来表态你现在的这个状况对于生活的意义？
Okay, so this is the fastest way to get people to start talking about what they are fulfilled with in life and what they are not fulfilled with in life.
这个呢，就是最快的方式，让他们敞开，他们可以跟你说他们所觉得在生命里面满足的事情跟不满足的事情。
Because after you have talked about FORM, you want to progress to a meaningful conversation about life.
当我们说到刚才那4样东西 FRM 的时候呢，这就是能够怎样的更深入的去聊。
And this simple question will launch you into the meaningful conversation.
这种很简单的问题呢，能够转化为一个有意义的谈话。
For example, if I ask Huimin, okay, Huimin, if you are to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the most, how fulfilled are you with your life?
如果呢，很像现在我要问就是会，如果你1到10呢，你能够你觉得你这一次在生命里面最有意义的是哪一个？
Now, for example, if let's say she said 6,
如果呢，我慧敏说6，
then my next question is very simple. Why is it a 6?
那我另外一个问题呢，就是很简单，为什么是6？
Why is it not a 10?
为什么不是10？
What needs to happen to make it a 10?
这到底你要你要做什么，你才能够达到10？
Then she's going to start to tell me,
然后呢，他就会告诉你更多
oh, my dog just died.
因为我的狗死了
My whole family were down with coronavirus.
我全家人都得了这个疫情。
I haven't gotten that big bungalow that I've always been working hard
然后呢，我
for.
还没有买到这个很大的这个的房子。
My boyfriend betrayed me.
我的男朋友呢背叛了我。
Don't you think that is a great conversation starter
你不觉得这个是一个很有意义的话题的开端吗？
to talk about meaningful things in life?
说有意义的话题，
Because immediately you get past all the small talks.
因为呢，这一些呢，你就会取掉这些很肤浅的这种话
Can you
题。
do that?
可以吗？
Can you ask this question?
你可以问这个问题吗？
Everybody can ask, right?
每个人都可以这样问的。
Okay. And the follow-up questions to make this a spiritual question is very simple.
然后呢，这接下来的呢，就能够看是很简单的。
Once you know what are some of the problems they are facing,
当你懂的时候，他们在面对的一些问题的时候，
all you do is you dig deeper.
你就要继续的来挖更深。
Everybody repeat after me. Say, dig deeper.
每个人来说，挖更深。
Okay, I'm going to teach you a technique that is called peeling an onion.
我要教你的一个技巧就是剥这个的洋葱。
Because building a friendship is like peeling an onion.
建立友谊呢，有时候就像这个剥洋葱的过程。
Okay, when you start a conversation, it's like the outer layer of the onion.
当你来开始这个话题的时候，就像剥这个洋葱的皮。
Nobody will take you seriously when you are only at that level.
你知道吗？没有人会把你当一回事，当你只是在那一个外层。
Now, at which point do you know that a person is ready to talk about spiritual matters?
你在哪一个的阶段呢？你知道这个人已经预备好要讲属灵的事情。
Can you guess?
你猜？
At which point do you know, oh, this person's heart is open? This is probably a good time for me to start sharing.
然后你就会说这个是那个时机，然后我可以这样子来分享了。
Anybody?
有人吗？
Take a guess. Yes, that sister. Yes, that's right. Give her a round of applause.
来
Let's
给
give
他
her
一个
some
掌
encouragement.
声。
When that person starts sharing their problems with you,
当对方和你分享他问题的时候，
because normally people don't share problems with strangers.
因为呢，通常人家不会和一个陌生人分享这一种问题。
You need to gain their trust as a friend for them to share with you.
身为一个朋友，你需要建立到他们，得到他们的信任。
Yeah, and the more you can get them talk about their problems,
当你能够让他们说更多他们的问题的时候，
the more you're going to gain their trust.
然后呢，你就能够得到他们，允许他们的信任，
And you do that by peeling the onion layer by layer.
就很像剥洋葱皮，一层又一层。
Your conversation needs to be focused. It cannot be going in all different directions.
然后呢，你的整个的谈话呢，必须要有专注的，你不可以到处都走。
Ask follow-up questions.
你呢，要继续的来问他们，
Be empathetic.
你要有这一个怜悯的心。
Okay? Don't be busy, talking that you missed out on listening.
不要呢就是很忙碌的跟他们有一个对话，然后你已经忘记了聆听。
God gives us 2 ears and only 1 mouth for a reason.
神呢给我们2个耳朵呢，一张嘴巴是有原因的。
Especially during building friendship stage, you have to listen twice as much as you talk, if not more.
特别呢就是在这种的过程，我们要更多的来聆听。
Yeah, because when you are sharing the gospel, you'll be doing a lot of sharing.
当我们来分享福音的时候呢，你就会来说了。
Now, if you've been doing a lot of talking, then people will not want to continue listening to you.
但是当你说太多，人家根本就不想要来听你讲话。
But if you are patiently listening to this person sharing his or her problem,
但是当你有这个耐心去聆听他分享的问题的时候，
there is this law of reciprocity that will kick in.
然后呢，他们就会有这一个的定律，
They will feel obligated to listen to you as a result, if you listen to them first.
当如果你先聆听他们，他们就会觉得说，他们也需要来听你。
Okay, so peeling onion, okay, happens layer by layer until you get to the core, which is the big problem that they are facing.
这个剥洋葱一层一层，一直到你进入他的问题的核心的时候，
Everyone that you know of is facing a battle that you either know or you do not know of.
每一个你认识的人，无论是你认识或不认识的，
Okay, everyone is facing a battle.
每一个人都在面对一个征战，
Everyone has struggles in life.
每一个人都有这一个的部
Now,
分。
your responsibility as a witness is to find out what that problem is.
然后你的这一个的责任呢，就是要去找那一个
Because you
问
want
题是什
to
么，
connect with them heart to heart.
因为你要和他们心连心。
Okay, this is going to open the door to their hearts.
这个呢，就是能够让他们的心门敞开的一种的技巧。
And you know that the door is open when they start sharing their problems with you.
当你知道他们的心门敞开的时候，他们就能够和你分享。
So this is what we're going to do.
这就是我们要做的事情。
You already found a partner just now.
你刚才已经找到你的伙伴了。
Okay, for the next 15 or 20 minutes,
接下来的15到20分钟呢，
I want to give you time to talk to each other.
我要给你时间和彼此对谈。
Now, because of time, maybe I will give each person 7 minutes.
因为时间的关系，我会给你们彼此7分钟。
Okay, maybe the admin team at the back can help me to time. Yeah, 7 minutes. Take turn. Okay, peel the onion. Ask questions. Okay, so when the two of you talk, okay, the first person will act like to be the witness. Okay, the other person, your partner, will be the gospel friend. Okay, and then when your time is up, you reverse the role.
你呢，就是一开始你一个人就是做一个倾听者，另外一个呢就是做那个问题要回答的人。
Yeah, so when the time is up, you take turn.
时候到的时候，你们
Reverse
2个的这一个的责任呢就改变了，
Okay, just have fun. Just relax. Okay, just ask questions. Just talk.
很放松的和你们的伙伴来有一个聊天的时间，
And don't make life difficult for your partner.
不要让你的这个伙伴呢有一个很难做人的这个的
Be
时间，
natural, okay?
就很自然的好了。
Now start with FORM,
好，你们可以用 FORM 来开始
but make it short because we only have very limited time.
我们要缩短这时间，因为我们有很紧迫的这个时间。
Try to get to the core, which is the problems that person is facing, as quickly as you can.
你要进到这一个人所面对的这个核心问题是什么？
And then go as deep as you can.
你要挖更深，
Go as close to the core as much as possible.
你要能够进入到他的这个核心里面。
Okay, and later on, at the end of this exercise, I'm going to ask you whether you feel like you've been understood or not.
等一下呢，我就会来问你，你是否有被你的伙伴这样子感觉到聆听？
So make sure you do a good job.
所以你要做一个很棒的一个工作哦。
Be empathetic.
你要有一个怜悯的心，
Okay, what is empathetic means? Means you listen with your heart.
你要用你的心来聆听。
And a good way to listen is by repeating what that person say, but in your own words.
你呢，怎样能够来聆听？就是你可以用你自己的话语来重复来说一次。
Which means you are summarizing what you are hearing and make sure that you are on the right track.
你呢，只是这样子简略的把对方所说的事情简单的说出来。
You can ask them, oh, is this what I'm hearing? Is what you are saying this, and that?
你可以问他们：“这是你所听到的一切吗
Yeah, and when they confirm, they will feel like you are listening to them and they'll be encouraged to share more.？”
当他们已经认同的时候呢，他们会觉得被鼓励，然后他们会想要跟你分享更多。
Okay, ready? So this is what we're going to do as in the role play.
好，
In
这是
groups of 2,
这就是我们要做的，2人1组。
okay, practice listen to each other's life stories.
你们要练习来倾听彼此的这个生活故
As
事，
quickly as you can switch from casual conversation to meaningful conversation.
尽可能快的从随意的谈话切换到有意义的谈话。
Okay, all of you found a partner?
你们
If you don't have a partner, 3 in a group is also fine. Yeah, it's either 2 or 3 in a group is fine.
你们可以回到刚才那一个的组里面
But，try to make it 2 so each person gets to share.
好，然后呢就可以2个人，如果没有的话才3个人。
Okay, so we're going to end at 2, yeah? So can the admin team help me? Welcome back.
欢迎回来，
I hope you had a good time
我希望你拥有一个很好的时间
listening to each other's stories.
倾听彼此的这个的故事。
Who feel like you have been listened to?
有谁呢？感觉就是你的伙伴有听到你的这个的心声。
Okay, maybe I haven't gotten all your attention. Some of you are still talking.
可能
Who
还
feel like you have been listened to by your partner? You genuinely feel like you've been listened to. They listen with their heart. Raise your hand.
有谁觉得你的伙伴有在聆听你的话，你可以举手，
Look at that. Look around you.
你可以
Yeah?
来看看哦。
Now, my next question, does it feel good to feel being listened to?
当你被人家听见的时候，是一件很好的事情吗？
Okay. I would like to hear your feedback as well.
我想要听一下你的这个的回应。
Maybe this is something new for some of you, but maybe this is not something new for you.
可能这个是一个新的事情，或对你来讲也可能不是一个新的事情。
But I want to hear from some of you, how did your partner make you feel while you are sharing your stories?
我想要听听一下，就是你的伙伴怎样就是让你有这样的一个感觉。
Anybody?
有谁自愿吗？
Yes? Oh, okay, very good. So this sister said they have just known each other for a short time, but now because of that exercise, they have gotten to know each other better, and they have decided to become future prayer partners.
这位姐妹呢，就是说他们刚刚都不太认识，但是透过这个的活动，他们在未来呢也会成为这个彼此的祷告伙伴。
Do we have an extra mic maybe that we can pass around?
我们可能可以有多一个支的这一个的麦克风吗？这样可以传来传去哦。
Thank you, sister. That's very good. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
God has is God's plan. Both of us have similar things that we can share in prayer. Thank God.
我们就是在这个的分享的时候呢，我们有一些同样的东西，我们可以一起来彼此分享。
Yeah. Okay, very good. Anyone else? What have you learned from this exercise? Yeah.
Ziying sister, I feel she understands, she get my point. She know how I feel. I feel comfortable when I talk to her.
我觉得呢，就是我的伙伴呢，他让我觉得很舒服，然后他也明白我面对的问题。
Yeah. I think if we have more practices like this, Pastor Inky, all the ladies will be very happy. Because this number one complaint from the wives, the husbands don't listen enough, right? Is it true, ladies?
我相信，如果就是有很多这样的活动呢，那些女生会很开心。
Yeah, my wife always say I don't listen. I say I'm hearing you, but hearing is different from listening, right?
我的太太每次说呢，就是我没有在听她，但是听就是这样子的聆听。
Yeah, so some tips to be a better listener.
有一些人呢，他们会是一个很好的
No,
聆
some
听者。
tips to become a better listener. Tips, 就是 some ideas.
有一些的这一种的意念，他是一个比较好的这种的聆听者。
Like just now I shared one, be an active listener. Repeat what that person is sharing with your own words.
然后就是很像刚才当我要这样子来如何的有一个更好的技巧来聆听，是因为当我来诉说他的这一个问题的时候，
Okay, the other way is with encouraging words.
另外一个呢，就是说鼓励的话语。
For example, like, I see, oh, tell me more about it.
然后你说就很像说，哦，原来是这样，你可以告诉我更多吗？
I can feel how you are feeling.
我可以完全的理解你所所感受到的事情。
Yeah, and not your head. Body language is also very important.
然后你的这个身体的这个肢体呢，你也可以这样子来点点你的头。
And subconsciously, mimic what that person's body language is.
然后呢，你就会慢慢的察觉到对方的这个的肢体。
Yeah, maybe you do it without you yourself realizing it.
然后可能你自己在做的时候，你自己也没有发觉了。
That's how I was observing around.
刚才呢，我就是这样子的来观察你们。
When you are listening attentively to a person's story,
当你很专注的来聆听人的这个故事的时候，
without you realizing, you are actually mimicking what the other person is doing.
然后呢，其实你没有发觉到你也这样子的来抄着人家在做的这些的小动作。
Yeah, so you learned something this afternoon?
这个下午你学习到的东西吗？
Okay, I know that it was very short time,
我知道只是一个非常短的时间，
but even though it was short, it's good, right?
虽然是一个很短的时间，但是它是好的，是吧？
You learn, how many of you get pretty close to the core?
有多少个人你们已经接近，就是要进入到这个核心？
Okay, some of you. Yeah.
有一些。
Imagine what we only did that whole exercise in 15 minutes, listening to each other. Imagine if you have like half an hour, 1 whole hour.
你想一下，刚才的时间很短，只是15分钟。那如果你有半小时或1小时的话呢？
Don't you think that person will be totally open up to you by the end of their stories?
你想想，可能你分享这些故事以后，到最后呢，他们是完全向你敞开的。
I found from my personal experience, oftentimes one of the most effective thing is knowing when to enter with the gospel.
我发现呢，就是在我个人的这个经历里面，是几时能够切入这个的福音。
And the best time is when that person feels like they are being listened to and they trust you as a friend.
那个时候呢，就是当他们觉得他们的问题已经被你听见了，然后他们可以信任你，成为一个朋友。
Yeah, and when you get as close as possible to the core,
当你已经达到很接近这个核心的时候，
the deeper you can dig,
那一个更深入的这个工作的时
the
候，
best if you can see some tears coming out.
最好的是，如果你看到他的脸呢流了几
Because
几
that's
滴的
what
泪，
happens when you peel an onion, right? You start shedding tears.
很像你在剥这个洋葱皮的时候呢，你也是开始流泪。
Okay, that person will be very open up to you.
然后那个人他其实对你非常敞开。
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to learn is vulnerability.
下一个呢，就是我们要看的，就是关于怎样坦诚面对。
Okay, when I started my sharing in the first session,
刚才我在第一个环节里面所分享的，
I didn't immediately start with all my successes, with how well I was doing as a witness for the Lord.
我们一开始就说分享我如何的这么的成功，如何的在主里做了什么事情。
I started by sharing about my failure in business.
我呢
Remember?
一开始分享我在生意里面所做错的事情，失败。
Do you know the reason why?
你知道为什么吗？
Because naturally, people connect with others better when they hear about their weaknesses, when they hear about their failures.
很自然的，当人家聆听到你曾经过去的失败的时候，他们能够很容易的跟你有一个连接。
Isn't that true?
这不是真的吗？
If you if you listen to a speakers who talk nonstop about their successes
如果你听到一个讲员他不断的讲他多成功，
versus a speaker who is very vulnerable, they share about their deepest struggles.
还有另外一个讲员呢，就是他们非常的就是坦诚，然后说他们的这一些的面对的问题的时候
They，share about their deepest feelings and their emotions, their hurt, their disappointments.
他们分享他们内心的这种的伤害或者是难处的时候，
Who do you think you can relate more with?
到底你认为你可以比较和谁有这个连接呢？
The first or the second speaker?
第一个讲员或是第二个讲员？
Second one, right?
第二个
So in the same way, when you are trying to build friendship with somebody,
就是同样的，如果你要和人有建立这个友谊的话，
learn to be vulnerable.
你要学习怎样坦诚面对。
Don't be shy to share about your weaknesses, your failures in the past.
你不要害羞，就是和对方呢分享你过去的失败，
Because you can impress people from a distance with all your successes,
因为呢，你可以和人家分享你所有成功的事情，
and you can impress them from a distance.
你就是再远呢，可以就是让他们对你有一个好的印象。
And that's all that you can do. You only impress them.
你这就是你可以做的事情，只是让人家对你有一个好印象。
But if you want to impact them,
如果你要影响他们的话，
you want to touch their hearts,
你要来刺中他们的心。
the only way is you must share about your deepest and darkest moment in your life.
那唯一的这个道路管道呢，就是你要和他们分享你在生命里面最黑暗的一个时刻。
God doesn't waste our pain.
神不会浪费你的痛的处的这种的时间。
We have all gone through some dark moments in our life.
我们呢，在我们的生命里面都已经经历了这些黑暗的时刻。
Can you think of that one life story that you feel most ashamed of, your moment when you are most embarrassed, when you feel like a failure?
有没有想到，就是你生命里面可能你有做错一些很失败的事情，或者你觉得很羞耻的一些事
Can you
情？
remember that moment?
你记得这一种的
Just
时
think
刻
in your
吗？
head. Can you remember that incident?
你现在在这个头脑里面，你有记得这个的时刻吗？
Maybe when you were little, your parents abused you verbally.
可能你小的时候呢，你的父母以这种言语来伤害你。
Maybe you've been mistreated by others in the past.
可能呢，在过去的时候，别人怎样的错误的来对待你，
Maybe you have gone through some financial setbacks in life.
或者呢，你在这个的金钱上，你也有这种的挫败，
Maybe you've been betrayed by somebody that you love.
或者你所爱的人他背叛了你，
Maybe you have battled through some terminal disease, or somebody that you know battled through terminal disease.
或者是你已经经历了一些这样子的疾病，或者是你认识的人他这样子经历，
Those were very difficult moments in life.
这些很在生命里面所谓挑战的时刻。
But those stories that you try to avoid telling others about,
但那些故事你需要来避免和人家
No.
说的，
yeah, those stories that you try to avoid,
那些故事你要尝试尽量的避免，
are the very same stories that will have the most impact on other people.
那就是要有这一个在人家有影响力的这种的故事。
Yeah, they are the same stories.
他们是一样的。
The stories that you try not to tell others, they happen to be the stories that will impact people the most.
那些故事你不想要跟人家分享的，其实就是会成为对方的这个影响力的。
Are you getting what I'm saying?
你明白我意思吗？
So you have to try to learn to be vulnerable,
所以你需要尝试，就是如何的坦诚面对、敞开。
because you can impress people from a distance,
因为呢，你在远处呢，赢得别人的这种的好感，
no, you can impress people from a distance.
你能够使到别人对你有一个好的这个印象，在远处。
Okay, for example, nowadays this is the era of social media.
基本上呢，在这种的社交媒体，
People post about nice things in their life.
人家呢都很常把最好的事情放在他们的这个社交媒体上，
The nice holiday that they recently had,
他们所享受的这种美好的度假，
all the happy moments, right?
那种开心的时刻。
Nobody posts about their bad hair problem when they wake up first thing in the morning.
没有人呢会把这种凌乱的头发呢，就在早晨的时候起来就拍照，然后就保上去，
Or about the conflict that they had with their husbands.
或者是呢，他们和他们丈夫有一些的问题挣扎的时候，就把它放上去。
Or when they have an ugly pimple on their face. They will not post that on
他们不会
social
把
media,
这
right?
种就是丑陋的一面呢放在社交媒体上。
Oftentimes you choose the best picture that will portray you in the best light.
很长的，也会把最好的这个一面就放在社交媒体上。
That's why social media is not real. You're only seeing a part of people's life.
所以呢，社交媒体不是真实的，你只是看到人家的一部分而已。
You can impress people
你可以这样子来讨好别人，
with all those things,
透过这一些的事情，
but you cannot impact them.
但是你没有办法影响他们。
You can only impact them when you are one-on-one and you talk heart to heart.
你能够这样子来影响他们，当你一对一和他们说话，心与心交谈的时候，
Especially when you dare to share your most difficult moments in life.
特别是当你愿意把你的这一个的错误、挫败的问题跟他们敞开，
So this is what we're going to do.
这就是我们要做的事情。
We're going to practice being vulnerable with one another.
我们要怎样的坦诚敞开和彼此敞开，
Build a bridge into your partner's heart.
你呢要和你的伙伴的这个心呢建立一个桥。
And the way to do that is by sharing about your past mistakes, the messed up that you've made, the failures that you've experienced in the past.
这个的方式就是你要和你的伙伴分享过去的这种的挫败的这种的经历。
Now, I know that it's going to be pretty difficult for some of you.
我可以跟你说，对你们有一些人来说是很难的，
I can understand that.
我明白。
But we got to start somewhere. This is a good place for us to practice doing that.
我们需要从一个地方开始，这是一个非常好的一个训练场。
Maybe for some of you, this is the first time you are sharing that story with anyone.
可能对于你们在座的有一些是第一次你这样子的学习敞开，
Maybe you are scared.
可能你很怕，
You're a little bit concerned about what that person is going to think of you.
你不知道对方会怎么的去想你。
I want to assure you that what is shared here, okay, is going to be between you only.
我呢要来这样子确定的，就是你们所彼此分享的，就只是留在你们彼此的对谈。
And your partner is going to be empathetic with what you are going to share with him or her.
然后呢，你的这个的伙伴呢，会以一个同理心这样子来聆听。
So it's very important to share from the heart.
所以呢，是很重要的，从你的内心深处去分享一个的故事。
Okay, so be real with one another. Share your past with one another. Okay?
做最真实的你，和你的对方分享你过去的事情。
And afterwards, we're going to have a talk about how you feel at the end of the exercise.
然后呢，等一下我们就会来分享到底我们整个的活动里面我们的感受。
Okay, the multimedia team at the back will help me with timing. Again, as usual, each of you will have 7 minutes.
一样的，你们有这个7分钟的时间。
All right, time's up.
好，时间到了。
Okay, you can remain seated wherever you are. Don't have to switch seat because we have one more exercise later on, yeah? Stay wherever you are.
好，你可以坐在你所在的地方。
I see some very animated and lively discussions.
我看到有一些呢，他们就非常的兴奋在分享。
Anybody would like to share what you are learning so far
有谁要分享吗？就是你们所学习到的东西，
through the exercises that we've been doing, through all these activities we've been engaged in?
透过你们的这种的活动，或者是你们怎样和彼此有一个的沟通。
Anybody?
有人吗？
Who is sharing like some information that you have never shared with anyone before until today?
有谁呢？就是你从和伙伴分享的时候，你分享了一些人家从来没有分享过的事情。
Some of you, okay.
有啊，有一些。
How did that make you feel, brother, when you are sharing for the first time some of the
那你第一次
secret
这样
things?
分享的时候，你有什么感受？
Hold on, wait for the mic. Can we pass the mic? Okay, there. This brother.
Test.
There you go.
I think both of us, we share the same scenario, the same story. But basically, when we share, we can feel, we hear from the heart.
Wow.
Both of us, I think we share the same thing.
Wow.
就是当我们分享的时候呢，我们可以感觉到我们是用心去
Wait,
连
brother.
接。
How do you feel after you have done sharing your stories?
At least I feel that I'm not alone, that we share the same process of failures and mistakes. And you're not alone when you make mistakes in life.
Very important statement. You are not alone.
很重要的一句话就是，他觉得我们不是一个人去面对这些事情的。
When you are being vulnerable, when you share about your past mistake stories and something like that, you are making the other person feel like, hey, you are not alone.
当你很坦诚的和一个人分享的时候，人家就会跟你很像在间接的鼓励他们，你不是一个人的。
It's a message that you are telling them, I am a regular, ordinary human being just like you.
你可以跟他们说，就是我只是一个普通的人，就很像你一样。
I messed up in life, I've made mistakes, and I can relate with how you are feeling.
我可能搞砸了我的这个的生命，然后我也有做错一些事情，但我完全可以理解你。
And this is a very powerful tool that you need to have as a witness.
这个就是很大的一个的能力，我们需要有的。
Now, I'm not teaching you this so that you can be very like strategic, or very willful when it comes to building friendship.
我呢，教你呢这一个呢，不是说你要和这个朋友有一个如何有这么多的这种的技巧，
But I'm just telling you what works.
我只是跟你说什么东西它是可以使用的。
When you do it with your partner, do it from the heart. Be genuine.
当你在和你的伙伴在做的时候，操练的时候，你需要很真诚。
Now, can I hear from this brother's partner?
我可以来听听，就是这位弟兄的伙伴来分
His
享
perspective. Okay.
他
Yeah.
的角度。
刚才这位弟兄他说了一些鼓励的话语，我觉得我眼泪都流出来了。
Wow.
So just now I felt that the brothers spoke some word of encouragement that I have shed my tears.
那个是我没有看到的一个地方，就是他的话语给我些的肯定。
A place that I never thought of is that his words actually gave me affirmation.
Can you see how powerful that is?
你可以看到吗？这是多么有能力的。
When you truly share from your heart, people can feel you.
当你真的用你的心来和他们分享，人家可以感受到
They，can relate with where you are in life.
他们可以和你有一个连接。
And when you can listen to, you can be vulnerable, and then when you are being vulnerable with the other person, you're also encouraging the other person to be vulnerable with you.
当你够坦诚的时候，你在同时候也在鼓励对方与你坦诚。
It works both ways.
这是一个双方的这种的互动。
You cannot expect your gospel partner to be vulnerable to you if you are withholding secrets from them.
你不可以呢，就是期待对方向你坦诚，当你自己本身也有秘密在保存。
If you only shares about the good things that happen to you,
如
you
果
will
你
not get that person to open up totally to you.
如果你只是和对方呢分享一些你所成功的这种的例子呢，对方是很难向你敞开的。
So that is the reason why soul winning is using an analogy in the Bible like fishing.
所以呢，为什么要赢得灵魂呢？在这个圣经里面，它就很像用了这种的比喻，就是这一个渔网。
And I thought it's a very good analogy because there are times when you need to tighten, the string. There are times when you need to put some slack to it.
我觉得这个是很实际的一个例子，因为有时我们需要来锁紧这个的绳子，有时需要放松。
Yeah. So when you listen to each other's story, you are actually helping that person, to be open up about who they are and in which stage they are in life.
当你来聆听彼此的故事的时候呢，你就是在鼓励他们，你也同时让他们有一个坦诚的机会。
If you have received your manual,
如果呢你有收到
Or your
你的
notes.
这个簿子呢，
it is both in the English and the Chinese manual.
这是中文版，那是英文版的。
I want you to turn to the 5th page, page 5, in the English manual.
在英文的话呢是第5页，然后中文的话呢是第3页。
There's this thing called the angel scale of steps to Christ.
它有这一个认识基督的步骤。
Now, I just want to quickly, very briefly tell you what this scale is about.
然后呢，我很简约的告诉你关于这一个的步骤。
If you look at the bottom of the ladder, you will see no awareness of God.
第一个呢，就是在这个楼梯那边，他写的是完全不认识上帝。
This is somebody who is totally not exposed to Christianity, who never heard about Jesus, have no idea what Christianity is all about.
这个呢，就是一个完全人家没有听过福音的人。
And then as you go up the stage, you are going to man.
这个呢发生呢是在第10的这一个的楼梯那边。
When that person make the decision to surrender to Jesus.
当那个人委身耶稣的委身要决定跟随耶稣的时候，
And you go all the way up to step 16, which is ongoing growth as a disciple of Christ.
然后呢再上到最高层呢，就是16那里就是继续的成长。
So what you are doing as a witness,
身为这个的见证人呢，
is no matter where that person is on this scale,
无论如何，他在哪一个的这一个的地方，
you are helping them to take one step higher, one step closer to Jesus.
你在帮助他们从一个的阶层上到另一个阶层。
And that will take time in most of the cases.
然后这一个需要很多的时间，在很多的时候，
Don't rush the process.
你不要尝试就是催逼那个的时间。
In some case, it might take hours.
有的时候呢，你需要很多个小时，
Sometimes it could be quick. It could be 15 minutes, 30 minutes.
有时很快就15分钟、30分钟。
I was chatting with Huimin earlier.
刚才呢，我就和慧敏来到有一个对话，
We were talking about the difference between Western culture and Asian culture.
我们说到西方跟亚洲的这个文化。
Most of the friends that I got to know when I was in America,
当我在这个美国的时候，我所认识的这些的朋友，
I found out that their culture is very different from our Asian culture.
我看到他们的文化跟我们亚洲的文化是完全不一样的。
A few times I realized that people there open up very easily about themselves.
我发现呢，那时候他们在那一边，他们很快就容易坦诚的敞开他们的心。
There was this one time when I met my friend's sister for the first time.
我遇到我朋友的这一个的姐妹的时候，
And I think in 15 or 30 minutes, she started sharing about how she was being abused and suffered domestic violence.
然后呢，就是一开始分享不久，他就跟我说他所面对的这种的暴力的这种形象。
And I remember thinking, this will never happen in Asia.
然后我就在想说，在亚洲根本就不可能会发生的事情啊！
You need to do a lot of healing in Asia before you get to that.
你知道吗？在亚洲，你需要剥很多的这个的洋葱皮才能够发生。
Yeah, so are you getting me? You need to take the time to get to the core.
你明白吗？你需要花时间一直到那颗心。
And the fastest way is you start to take the initiative to be vulnerable first
最快的那个时间就是当你自己开始向人坦诚的时候，
and help that person to go up the steps.
然后呢，你就帮那个人从那个楼梯往上爬。
Okay, if you don't finish getting them from step 1 to step 10 right away, it's okay. You can always come back another time.
如果你没有办
Don't
法
rush.
从第1到第10赶的话呢，你不要急，你一步一步来。
Okay, so I hope you've gained something. Now, this is the last part of this session.
这个呢，就是在这一个环节里面最后的这个东西要跟你们分享，
Which is sharing God's story,
要分享
In your life.
神的故事在你的生命里面，
aka your personal testimony.
也就是你个人的生命见证。
Okay, you have shared about your life story. You have moved them from casual conversation to meaningful conversation.
你从一个随意的话题转入一去有意义的话题，
Now you want to move them from meaningful conversation to spiritual conversation.
现在你要从有意义的这个话题转化为这个属灵的话题。
And the most powerful tool is by using your personal testimony, a well-crafted personal testimony.
这个最关键的呢，就是你用你的个人生命见证来和他们分享。
And I want to share with you the format, the easiest format to craft a good personal testimony.
我要和你分享一个很简化的，你如何来分享你的个人见证。
Yeah, it is like this. At the beginning of your story, you share about how was your life before you encountered Jesus.
在你开始讲诉说你的故事的时候，你就分享你还没有遇见耶稣之前，你的生命是如何的。
Okay, so this is before Christ, BC.
这就是在你认识耶稣以前。
And then in the middle, you share about your encounter with Jesus.
然后在中间呢，你就要来分享，就是你如何的遇见耶稣，
What happened in between that caused the U-turn moment in your life?
到底发生了什么事情，使到你生命有一个大弯转？
What caused you to surrender or to yield yourself, your life to Jesus?
到底是什么使到你的生命愿意的这样委身于耶稣？
Was it through an incident?
是因为有一个的事情吗？
Was it through somebody who influenced you?
还是因为有人影响你？
Was it through a book called the Bible?
还是因为有一本书、一本圣经，
Some spiritual books that somebody lent to you?
或者是人家借给你的属灵书籍？
Was it through an event, where you heard about some words that that touch your hearts?
或是透过一些的特会，你听到一些的词句或者话语，使到你完全的改变，
It could be a string of events.
或者是可能有不同的这种的季节。
leading you to the decision to surrender your life to Christ.
使到呢你能够愿意的这样子来委身做这个的决定。
Okay, so the middle part is the U-turn moment.
所以呢，这个的中间就是你所生命的这个的转变的时候。
The last part of your testimony is the after Christ part.
最后一个呢，在你的这个见证部分呢，就是你要分享认识耶稣以后的生活。
How has your life been different since you encountered Jesus?
你认识耶稣以后，然后你遇见耶稣以后，你的生命是有怎么样的不一样？
How has your characters changed?
你的这一个的性格上有什么的转变？
How have you become a better person?
你怎样成为一个更好的人？
How has Jesus made you feel?
耶稣如何有让你什么样的感觉？
Yeah, so it's a very simple format. Before, what happened, or U-turn moment, and then after.
是一个很简单的这个的格式，就是你认识耶稣以前，一直到你遇见耶稣，还有遇见耶稣过后，
Just like a commercial advertisement.
就很像一个普通的这一种的advertisement。
If I want to convince you to buy a product from me,
如果我要来就是叫你跟我买一些的产品，
for example, I want to convince you to buy a smartphone,
好像说我要你就是来买到这一个手机，
I can talk about my life when I was using the dumb phone.
我可以说到就是我在用那个很旧的手机的时候，那种的生活是怎样？
Yeah, remember those Nokia, BlackBerry, all those dumb phones?
就很像 Nokia 还有就是BlackBerry 的那种的电话那个时代。
I can talk to you about how somebody introduced this thing called a smartphone to me and all the functions that it has inside.
然后呢，我现在要跟你讲的就是这一个智能手机里面所有的这种的操作。
And I can tell you about all the wonderful things that I'm able to do now because I have this smartphone.
我可以跟你说，就是我现在可以做很多的事情，因为我有这个智能手机。
Are you getting it?
你明白吗？
Sharing your personal testimony can be as simple as that.
分享你的个人见证是非常简单的。
Now, this is going to take some time, but we may not have the time to actually do it in pairs. But I want you to at least take some time to go through this exercise.
可能呢，我们没有很多的时间去完成这整个，不过我要你花时间去做这个的功课。
So why not we take the time to think through what is the transformation that Christ has done in your life?
我要你想想，就是在你的生命里面，耶稣使到你的生命有什么样的改变？
And remember to keep it short and concise.
你要把它很简化的。
Okay, because this is not your typical testimony that you share in the church where you are like going all over the place.
这个呢，不是一个普通的这种就是你在台上看到的这种见证，你要分享很多。
Yeah, you don't tell your grandmother's story.
你不需要来分享，就是你的这种的婆婆的这种故事。
Yeah, but you want to keep it short and concise about how your life has been changed by Jesus.
就是短跟精准，使到你遇见耶稣以后，你的生命的改变，
Very focused, very to the point.
很专注，直到这一个的重点。
Okay, can I give you like 5 minutes to jot down what are some of the things that God has been doing in your life? Okay, so just maybe on your notes or on a piece of paper. If you don't have either of those, on your handphone is okay as well. Just write down what are some of the things that God has been doing in your life.
我可以给你5分钟的时间，然后你就可以写下神在你生命里面所做过的这些的事情。
Okay, remember, before Christ, U-turn moment, and after Christ.
认识耶稣以前，遇见耶稣的时候，跟遇见耶稣以后，
This will be a very powerful gateway for you to introduce the gospel later on.
这是一个很棒的这一个的管道，使到你在未来要传福音的时候。
Okay, go ahead. Maybe 5 minutes, and then we're going to end this session afterwards.
好，5分钟，然后过后呢，我们就会暂停休息。